Hey, what's up, Brenton? Quick demo video for you for your KY Sabers Jedi Killer. As you know, I just got this done today. A little late for your birthday, but happy late birthday. And let's go over this guy, right? This installed the Proffie V2. It's got CC Sabers LEDs in here for your main PCB. It's got a dual crystal setup. So the original crystal is what KY Sabers puts in here, and it's right here. And then I like to put an additional one in my chassis. When this saber came, it had some mesh in it. It's a little bit different than the stuff I've got in here now. It was put in there, but it wasn't something I could really work around. So I took that out completely, and I used this automotive mesh that I like to use. And I redid my chassis to kind of house the mesh in there so it all slides in as one unit. And this is actually part of the chassis and not stuck to the inside of the saber. Then there's a real quartz crystal underneath all that mesh right there. Hard to see now, but you'll see it when I light it up. When you get this, to take the handle off, you have to come over here and take this screw out right here, this single screw. So we'll do that. Couple threads comes right off. And then once you get that off, you can pull the handle off just like this. And then here's your chassis. It does say Jedi Killer over here. And then it says Solo Sabers over here for me. You got a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker back here. And then here's your wire or your battery cradle for removable battery. So spring side over here for the negative side of your battery. I did have to cut some of the springs off this, and then I take the positive end also on the positive terminal. I smash it down a little bit so that I can fit a battery in there, because I don't want the speaker hitting up against the rim, the inside rim of that, if you can see that, so you don't get any sound distortion. So I shrink this down as much as I can, and then also on top of that, I'm trying to give you some sound resonance. So this chassis is as small as I could possibly get and still give you access to the board. So if you can see your Proffie boards right there, you can get to your micro USB, but to get to your over to the SD card to change fonts or whatnot, you're going to have to slide this chassis out. And you've got a chassis retention grub screw right here. So once you take that out, you can slide your chassis out a little bit, get to your board, do what you need to do, and then slide it back in and lock everything down. Just be careful not to take it out any more than you have to, because there are a lot of wires that are behind the chassis piece for this mesh here. That's where I hide all my wires for my main PCB, for the switches and everything. It actually goes behind the chassis. The chassis is about a half circle or so, just to hold the crystal in the mesh, and then it's got an open area behind it for the wires. But if you don't slide this in correctly, you'll bundle the wires up. Right on top of the chassis is one pixel accent, and that lights up your main crystal. And then there's another pixel accent down here for the secondary one. So yeah, that's what we got there. Let's throw a battery in this guy. That's a good sound. We're going to put the handle on, and then I'll show you what the chamber's doing. So you've got the 3 sound fonts on here, plus you've got all of your main stock font package that comes with Proffie is on here as well. On the excuse me, on the aftermarket sound fonts, I went through and programmed this crystal chamber to do a little something different than the blade, but on the stock sound fonts, everything will match. All right. So for right now, this is what you got going on in your crystal chamber. So you can see it just kind of pulsating there. It's easy to see the crystal in there until you turn it on. All that's lighting up like it should. This thing's incredibly loud. Twist off. Or you could come over here and use the power button. So it's a 2-button setup. The top switch will be your power.
What could you give me? Everything.
And the back switch is your auxiliary. I made sure you'll be able to see that in your crystal chamber. We'll throw a blade in here. We got to figure out which one it is. This guy right here is your blade retention, and you'll see it sticking into the blade chamber. You can kind of see it right there. You You don't even need an Allen key if you don't want. You can use your finger with this, unless you're going to be doing, you know, some heavy beating on something with this guy. Then you might want to tighten it down with Allen key. I haven't had to do that. I typically don't do that, so I'm just using my fingers to tighten this guy up. So I gave you a bit of an unstable blade here in your crystal chamber. We'll go to the next sound font.
I know the true power of the dark side.
You just tap the auxiliary for that. Now, it's an unstable blade too, but it's different. This is more of an erratic unstable. Just tap for blaster deflex. You've got battle mode, so if you hit the blade or the saber, you get blade lock up. Right here, you can see it. You can see it in your crystal chamber. And it stays like that until you pull away from it. And then this last font is the fire font. So you've got, it will pulse like that until you turn the blade on. And then this is like an actual fire blade. It may not pick up well on camera, but you'll be able to see how it's yellow to orange over to red, and it looks like flame. It's a flame blade. And then you've got that in your crystal chamber. And then you get that animation in your crystal chamber when you got blade lock up. Right here. Super loud. And we turn it off. Now we'll be into the stock sound fonts. So on these, like I said, there's no animation when the blade is off, and then when you turn the blade on, everything matches. Now if you're on something and you want to change color on the fly, just hold down the aux and hit power. You'll hear that. Hopefully you heard that. Now you can just twist the saber to any color you want. So if you want a green, when you find it, just tap the power. You'll hear that. So now we got a green blade and green crystals. We'll do a few more.
Smooth gray.
This is also kind of a fire blade, but it's different than the one you've got on the aftermarket font.
Smooth fuzz.
And then you could cycle through all of them. Quite a few.
Team C.
One more.
Smooth Jedi. Smooth gray.
And so on, right? So we'll take the blade out of this guy. Just like that. It takes a 1-inch diameter neopixel blade, so you will have to pick one of those up if you don't have one already. And then to take the battery out again, we'll just take this screw out right here. Pull the handle right off. And then with this battery from the positive side, which is by your speaker, you can come in here with your finger and pop it out just like that. And yeah, that is pretty much your saber. Let me know if you got any questions. If not, man, this will go out in the mail to you tomorrow. All right, thanks.